So it's autonomous mission, 1 kilometer, 1.2 kilometers. Um, I sent it over. This time I chose a high location. Went out this morning. Made a couple of mistakes. One of my mistakes was that I really didn't know my battery limitation. I didn't have a real good grasp. It was very cold this morning. My timer was inaccurate because I didn't take into consideration pre-flight. So it crashed. But on the other hand, it didn't crash from a very high from a very high place, so that was good. The other thing that I learned was how to override some of the fail safes, but make it safe still. So one of the things I did was I increased the fail safe radius to just outside of my location that I was flying to, and then I turned the controller failsafe to automatic, so when you're in auto mode it did not recognize the failsafe, so it would continue on the mission even outside of my the range of my controller, and that worked. Everything worked good. So I made my entire flight. I didn't forget to plug in the battery, and the camera was working. Some other really important facts that I didn't take into consideration. And I've got really good video. I loosened up my video straps so it take some more that dampens more of the vibration. And so far, it looks like I have some really good high quality video. This is about as much as I'll show you now, but I'll add a section of that onto here, a little piece, a snippet in there I'll put in there. Quality video. Anyway, so all those things went great. I learned exactly what my battery limitation was. I know my distance limitations, and I can stay within that. That's probably one of the most important things you can learn is that even though you got a big battery, it doesn't mean that it's going to be able to handle that distance. Right now I'm in a 5.2 milliamp battery, but I'm carrying almost 1,500 grams. Well, a little over almost 1,400 grams of weight, including the quad. So that's a lot of weight, especially with all the cheap stuff I've got on. I've got a cheap Chinese gimbal on it, and I've got. I'll give you some of the points. So here we go. We got the Chinese gimbal on there. I've got 9-inch per props, the DJI props. There's my battery balance. And of course I've got an external battery too running the gimbal. That's probably a little overkill weight, but this thing can handle the weight. It for about my flight limitation is about 12 minutes with a safe return to home. The other thing is voltage. I didn't know what my voltage limitations. You hear all these different things on the internet, and it has a lot to do with the weight and the pull that the work that the amps that your quad is pulling. And mine was pulling more amps than, say, leaving the battery to go to, say, 10.5 volts or something before fail-safe return to home. Here's my YouTube page. Some of the things that helped me build this thing. This is some guy. He sounds like a Russian guy. He's helped you build things, and helped me a lot with the math. I really appreciate that. It's a guy named Drone. I also talked to this guy, or at least referred to this guy over here. Where's my friend Donnie Nevins over here? It was kind of fun watching Donnie build his drone, answer some questions. But so these guys here, and then this is what I came up with. This is a spreadsheet, and it takes care of everything. This is what I learned from Mr. Drone. Battery size calculator, created a amperage calculator, drone lifting capacity calculator, and a electronic speed controller calculator. And at the very bottom, I got a customized voltage and amperage calculator. And I put my end bolts and my start bolts in. Gives me a maximum flight time, and it gives me my volts remaining. So I was able to determine with my load and the battery that I was using, and the two different loadouts that I have for my 500 drone. I use all these weights to calculate. Now the one thing it doesn't have is prop size, so but it's really been helpful. This has been a really good tool. But I got it on my phone. Works out great. Mine is set at 11, so it gives me about 0.2 to get home, and just in case. But those are some things that I learned. This was a really good, successful flight. Like I said, I got good video. I've learned the limitations of this thing, and I didn't break it. I did break the skids this morning, but if you can see here, I'll show you. I put hot glue on, and I think hot glue is the modeler's helper, but the hot glue seemed to keep my skids from keeps them pretty. They're pretty tough right now. So, but yeah, nice long flight. I was way out there. Like I said, about a half a mile out. I got great video, and I came back a half mile in, about 5.5 minutes of total flight time, with we're about a 6 mile an hour breeze. So I was getting kind of worried because it was getting windy, and this morning was absolutely dead calm. Here's the example of the mission that I did this morning. Successful in the afternoon, but not in the morning. But 16 waypoints, multiple camera angles, and distance. So yeah, it was pretty challenging. So anyway, good day. Everything's back in one piece. It's always a good day. But all right, so good things are happening. A lot of learning is going on. Like I said, this hobby started out a pretty simple thing, and like I said, there's a lot to learn, so you just can't jump right into this thing. Anyway, cool, man. So yeah.